there is this, so, I mean, we should just say that for the longest time, there's been this set of camps, in my view, in the dream world. There's some who say that dreams are adaptive,
Mm-hmm.
evolutionarily speaking, and then there are others saying, no, they're just quote unquote spandrels. You know, they're just
Right.
no real adaptive function. They're just there. What's adaptive is something else, like maybe the REM sleep physiology, but
Mm-hmm.
the cognitive stuff is just byproduct epiphenomena of the adaptive function.
Mm-hmm.
But I've always felt that dreams themselves are adaptations. What's your view?
Yeah, I agree with that so far.
How come? Why? What's convinced you?
Well, I mean, I think to question whether, if you want to take the perspective that dreaming and the conscious experience is completely not functional, then it calls into question, I think, all of conscious experience. Like if you're really taking that kind of biological reductive perspective, like the only thing that's functional is what's happening in the brain and perhaps in the body, and the subjective experience, we can just dismiss that. Well, that calls into question subjective experience all the time, I think, you know.
Yes.
But I feel like to be, you know, to have consciousness, or what I guess subjective consciousness, in waking life and in dreams, I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, it's a fundamentally irrational, not to be too dramatic about it, but irrational response to say that subjective qualia is just epiphenomena, you know, and serves no function, and the only real thing, quote unquote, is brain functions.
Right.
You know, it's just super reductive, and it seems to me irrational stance to take. You know, so, but what kind of adaptation would dreams then be? Like what? I mean, we have a, you know, a range of views on that. So
Yeah.
first, there's all the people in the dream world who say their dreams are just spandrels, and at least one or two philosophers who don't know a lot about dreams have taken that stance. But then there's the philosophers and the scientists who say, okay, dreams do probably are functional and do have an adaptive purpose. So then we go through, okay, what are the hypotheses? So the ones, in my view, that have some empirical support are like the threat simulation, social simulation, memory processing for sure, and then some sort of emotional regulation of some kind, you know, like fear extension processes, you know, so that you know, even though we all face traumas, we can still carry on because we can reduce the amount to which fear controls our lives.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and we do that via dreams through the fear extinction circuit.
Right.
So,
Right.
so that's at least three, you know, sets of views on, threat simulation, social, memory processing, and emotion. So four, emotional regulation. Can you think of any others? Creativity, you know.
Yeah, those are the main camps of function. I think the simulation views, you know, they've said threat and social are evolutionarily important for us to rehearse in our dreams. But I think the simulation views more broadly, it becomes more relevant to your current life. So there's evolutionary functions that maybe dreams and REM sleep preferentially rehearse threats and social situations because those are important for the evolution of our species.
Yeah.
But then that becomes, you know, based on your current life, you know, that what are the things that are important for you in your life to rehearse? Because you know, we're not necessarily exposed to the same types of threats that we were through evolution. So it kind of adapted to current experience, current life.
Are you saying that's an argument against the adaptive, or say the threat simulation view? Or are you saying we just need to understand it that way?
I think it just needs to be expanded or something. Like it's,
yeah.
I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I agree. Yeah, we need to take the threat simulation hypothesis and the social simulation hypothesis in that way. You know, like what is it doing? What did it do for us in the evolutionary landscape when they first evolved, and what is it doing for us now? Yeah. Exactly. Sure. Yeah. Which do you favor? It's possible that they all could be true, right?
Oh, yeah, I think they're all true.
Yeah, I think they certainly all have some empirical support.
Yeah.
You know, so I 10 or 15 years ago put out this idea of that's sort of linked to the emotional regulation hypothesis that currently I'm sort of with the social simulation people, but a long time ago I put out the signaling hypothesis, which is linked to the emotional regulation stuff, costly signaling, you know, because it would account for both the reason why dreams are so important for emotional regulation, but it would also account for bizarreness in dreams and for why we get the unknown unknowns and creativity in dreams. I didn't describe it that way at the time, but and I was never that wedded to the hypothesis, and that's it's one I still have a sweet spot for, you know.